Thank you so much for joining us for this evening's performance at the Millennium stage. Please welcome to the stage Maarja and Nuut.
Welcome. Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here and play for you. So I come from Estonia, from that tiny little country north of Europe, where half of the land is covered with forest. And you will hear some stories and some songs and tunes from there. For a start, do you know how the world was created in Estonia? There was a bird, silk-feathered bird, very beautiful one. And she wanted to make new little birds. So she starts to look for a place where to make the nest. And she walks and she walks. And then she meets a tree with golden leaves and asks from the tree, "Will you take care of me? Will you love me? Can I come here?" And the tree says, "No." Well, she doesn't give up and walks and searches for another place. And after a while, she meets a tree with silver leaves and asks exactly the same thing. But the tree says again, "No." Well, we have this saying in Estonia, 3 times is a law. I think here you say 3 times is a charm. So she doesn't give up and continues the way. And you know, it was really the times there was nothing, just a big empty space. She walks and walks, and then she meets a tree with silk feathers also and asks, "Will you take care of me? Will you love me?" can I come here and make my nest? And the tree says yes. So she makes a nest. 3 eggs come out, 3 little birds come out. The first one, it's a really lazy one, not really much to do with it. The second one, it's kind of okay, the middle one, you know. Not really this, not that. But the third one, she also had silk feathers. And she was the one who created the whole world.
Lendas kullast põesa peale, lendas kullast põesa peale, volerolero. Kuld ei võtnud armastada, kuld ei võtnud kannatada, volerolero. Siidisuulist linnukene lendas hõbe põesa peale, volerolero. Hõbe ei võtnud armastada, hõbe võtnud kannatada, volerolero. Siidisuulist linnukene lendas siidi põesa peale, volerolero. Siit see võttis armastada, siit see võttis kannatada, volerolero.
Thank you. I will continue with a few polkas now. And we have a polka, and I know that you here have a polka. And what do we do when we dance polka? We really, really like to circle in Estonia in all possible ways. So you stand with your partner in a couple, and then you start to circle and circle in a bigger circle. And you can go in this way, or you can turn around and keep the same direction in the circle, or you change the direction in the circle, or this way. So you have 4 different possibilities. The first polka comes from south of Estonia, and where I used to live for a few years. And the second polka I wrote to my friend, who comes from quite nearby there from the forest. And he's pretty old man already now. One day he told me a story that happened to him when he was a young man. You know, he had a big farm and many animals. And he had a friend who had big farm, big lands and animals. And when you had lots of work to do, something to do really fast, and people from the village come together and help each other out. So he went one day to help his friend. And they worked really hard from morning till late night. And then he starts to walk back home. And the road goes through the forest. And you know one more thing about Estonia. When you say village, it can mean literally 3 houses in distance of 3 kilometers from each other. So the village where my grandparents were born, there are 2 households now left. So the road takes quite some time and it's really dark. And suddenly he sees a big rock on the way. And he's thinking, I don't think I've seen it before. But he's really tired and thinks, well, I go there and have a little nap and then continue my way. So he goes there, sits down, closes his eyes, and starts to sleep. And hears a very low and angry voice. Get the hell out of here. What is this now? He looks here, there, nothing. And we all know there are lots of little weird creatures in the forest, especially during night, of course. But we are taught since we are small, just don't bother, don't mind them, then nothing bad happens to you. So he tries to sleep again, and exactly the same thing. Just the voice is even more aggressive and angry. So he stands up and makes a circle around the rock, looks here, there, thinks, should I go home? But just when he thinks that, he feels this pain in one hip and in one leg. No, I try once more. 3 times is a charm. He sits down, closes his eyes, falls asleep. And then 2 really strong, big hands throw him far in the bush. For a while, he's not sure what just happened, and then he opens his eyes and, of course, wants to look. So he looks at that rock, and what do you think he sees there? Many little devils circling a polka around that rock. So he was just taking away their party place there. Thank you. Beside circling, we also like to swing a lot in Estonia. And we have quite big swings there. You can stand there and you can be there with 10 or 20 people all together. So you bring out this, it's springtime, wooden construction, and then you have two big posts coming and a platform, and you stand on two sides. And then you swing there and, of course, sing. And it used to be a place where women gathered together in old times. And what they were singing about, of course, how beautiful they are and how powerful they are. Sometimes I've been wondering, as there is a sort of distinctive style of singing, and men were not really allowed to come near. So I've been thinking, well, it seems that the women really wanted to make sure that all the men hear how beautiful they are when they sing there. There's a swing that makes a bit of sound, like not a happy one. And the young woman asks, "Will you carry me well? If you don't carry me well, you'll just disappear." And asks from the swing, why do you do this sound? What do you want? And the swing asks for gifts, for gloves and for ribbons. And then the woman says, "Don't complain, don't worry. My brother will take a wife, and the second brother will take a wife, and third brother will take a wife, and then you'll get all your gifts." Thank you. That was a labajalg. In translation, it means flat foot, and it's just another traditional dance where we like to circle. Once there lived a bride, and she was about to get married when she suddenly found out that people despise her and don't like her. So she became really sad and ran to forest, sat under a wild rose bush. Then her mother went and asked, "My dear daughter, come home. Don't worry anymore." But she said, "I can't come. My heart is in such pain." Then father went, and brother and sister, nothing helped. But then the groom went.
Üks pruut, kes oli kihlatud, sai kuulda, et on vihatud. Üks pruut, kes oli kihlatud, sai kuulda, et on vihatud. Ta võttis ära pageda, läks metsa roosipuude all. Ta võttis ära pageda, läks metsa roosipuude all. Siis teda kutsma läks, tule kodu sa mu armas lats. Siis ise teda kutsma läks, tule kodu sa mu armas lats. Ei või ma tulla, eesäke mu süda nii väga valutab. Ei või ma tulla, eesäke minu süda väga valutab. Siis emme teda kutsma läks, tule kodu sa mu armas lats. Siis emme teda kutsma läks, tule kodu sa mu armas lats. Ei või ma tulla, emmäke mu süda nii väga valutab. Ei või ma tulla, emmäke minu süda väga valutab. Siis veli teda kutsma läks, tule kodu sa mu sõsarake. Siis veli teda kutsma läks, tule kodu sa mu sõsarake. Ei või ma tulla, velleke minu süda nii väga valutab. Ei või ma tulla, velleke minu süda väga valutab. Siis sõsar teda kutsma läks, tule kodu sa mu sõsarake. Siis sõsar teda kutsma läks, tule kodu sa mu sõsarake. Ei või ma tulla, sõsarake mu süda nii väga valutab. Ei või ma tulla, sõsarake minu süda väga valutab. Siis peigmees teda kutsma läks, tule kodu sa mu armas pruut. Siis peigmees teda kutsma läks, tule kodu sa mu armas pruut. Nüüd võin ma tulla, peiuke mu süda enam ei valuta. Nüüd võin ma tulla, peiuke minu süda enam ei valuta. Once there lived a man and a woman. They had 3 daughters, the eldest, the youngest, and the middle one. One day, they wanted to go to pick some berries, and there was a forest just nearby the house. So they go there and find a clearing. But all the berries were rather poor, and the eldest and middle one didn't bother to pick them, and they said, "We won't stay here. We'll go and search for better ones." But the youngest sister said, "Go ahead. I stay here and pick my berries just here." So the 2 sisters went to search for better berries. But it was too early, so even when they found bigger ones, they were all white and unripe, so they got nothing. Night was falling, and they had to go back to where they had left their sister. And when they get there and look, what do they see? Their youngest sister is sitting there. The basket is full of strawberries, and she's eating them. They know they can't go back home like this.
So they hide behind the bush and think, well, we have to do something. We have to kill her. So they kill her. There's a road going through the forest, and they take her body and bury it by the roadside. They plant a birch tree to remember her grave. Two sisters divide the berries and go back home. Their mother and father want to know where their younger daughter is, but they say, we know nothing. We went all together, but then she stayed there and we got all these nice berries and we know nothing. Time passed and tradesmen came to the village. They happened to take the same road where the sister was buried. One of them, the youngest one, he saw the tree and took it down and started to carve connel from it. It's a plucked instrument that you can, like a sort of a sitar. And just when he takes his knife and starts to carve it, the connel starts to sing. Sõsar minu ära tapnud, sõsar minu ära tapnud, maha matnud. Tapnud, maha matnud, Maarja vaka, maha matnud, Maarja vaka, matnud suure tee verde, sõitsid mööda suured saksad, käisid mööda kaubamehed, raiusid maha ka sekse, kalli kandlepuukese. Sisters killed me and buried me by the roadside. The tradesmen come and take the tree down and make connel of it. And connel sings and sings and sings. Men come to the village, and the youngest one, he happens to go to the same house where the two sisters lived. Mother opens the door and hears Connell singing and starts to cry. She doesn't understand. So she asks, give it to me. She takes Connell in her hands and on her knees, and it still sings. Then father asks, give it to me. And it still sings. Then they give it to the sisters. And it doesn't sing anymore. Thank you. So that was a waltz. And same thing. A little bit of circling this way and that way. I will continue with a singing game now. A horse game. And I think, sometimes I've been thinking about this playing, and there are many games in different traditions, and nowadays I think playing a game seems to be more of kids' business. And if you're a grown-up and a decent person, then you're not supposed to do such things. And I sometimes feel it's really a pity, because playing games used to be very important part of everyday life, grown-up people's life. And children, they were just around and learning the games and then going with the flow. And why is that? Because there are many games where you take a role and there are different situations, and you have to find a solution. And to find a solution with improvisation, you need to be creative. And being creative and finding a solution in problems is something that we need to do in our everyday life. So it really helps you in real life, I think, to be more open for different possibilities. And now a game. The horse is lost somewhere and the owner is looking for it. Not here, not there, asking around. Then it comes out. The horse is doing some naughty stuff, dancing in a buckwheat field and eating neighbor's cabbage. And then we invite a wolf to come and break the neck of that black horse. And if the horse gets killed, we are successful. And it might sound a bit aggressive when you think that it's a children's game. But again, it used to be strongly connected with ritual thinking and believing that everything you don't want to happen in real life, you play through in the game. So then you put a protection on it. Thank you. It's time for my last song. Thank you for coming here today and listening. It's my first time in America. I've been here a bit more than 2 weeks now, I think, and I've had really, really, really good time everywhere. It's an evening song to send the day to rest, to sleep, and I think a very beautiful way of approaching, in the sense that whatever happened to you during the day, you just take this moment and send that day to its right place so that it can come back in a more fresh way and you have a new start again. And the day takes the road you want to say. So over the forest, over the sea, over the lakes, to its brothers and sisters. And then it's carried on 2 hands and put asleep in a cradle, and between golden blankets and silver sheets, all the beautiful things you want to wish. Thank you.